Is Talk to Me more hype than horror? It's time to find out. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Chris. Thanks for stopping by and watching my review for Talk to Me. Okay, so I have had a weird long road with this film specifically, which I don't normally have. Normally, if I go see a new movie, it's something that I'm into. I don't always cover new movies. If you're new to the channel, I typically cover a lot of old school, obscure horror here. But Talk to Me was a very interesting thing because I really liked the concept. I'm not a huge fan of A24 horror movies, but this one seemed intriguing. It was another YouTube duo, gone actual production of a full feature-length film. So we're still waiting. Chris Stuckman's, Shelby Oaks, probably next year. So I am curious. It's a thing that I like as a YouTuber. I'm intrigued by people that go from this medium on to make actual films. Are they going to succeed? So in turn, that's what I was excited for. I actually didn't watch any trailers for it. I just saw the hand and I kind of heard what it was about. And so I was like, okay, these two YouTube guys are going to make a horror movie about a hand that kind of connects them to the spirit world. I am down. I'm into ghost shit and all that stuff. So I am here for it. But before we get into the film as a whole, go down there, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share this with anybody you think would enjoy this content or old obscure horror movies that I do on this channel. All right, let's get into this. So the crux of the film is that we follow a group of teenagers that, have this hand and they are using it to connect to the spirit. We open up with a pretty brutal, cool shot. And I will say the first half of this movie, I was on board. Probably actually first third, I was really intrigued and I was really captivated by what was going on. It's actually the latter half of the film that I have a lot of issues with. So in the beginning, we start out, there's a dude that's kind of barging into this party trying to find his brother, duck it, I will say the one thing I am not a fan of in this, and it's also very reminiscent of Bodies, 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 which I covered very early on in this channel last year, is that I do not really like the dialogue. I know these guys are young, but I'm really just not into this Gen Z shit. It just doesn't work for me. Obviously, I'm not in that age group, so a lot of the music doesn't hit for me. I get that they're depicting a very specific age. That stuff just kind of, it doesn't annoy me. It just kind of doesn't work for me wholly. I get these are different characters, but I've just never been a fan of it. It always takes me out for some reason, and the dialogue is kind of not great in this, and I think the story overall is kind of a mess. But the things I do like I said, he barges in this party, gets his brother, breaks down the door, gets out. This dude looks like he's like a fucking mess. He looks like he's kind of on drugs, but he's not. He gets him, turns around, stabs his brother, stabs himself in the forehead. It's crazy. So we're starting out with a bang here. And so I was like, oh shit, what are we talking about? What is happening? Obviously something has gone awry in this, possession style movie. I think it's a cool twist on a possession movie because I'm very tired of the rote and tiredness of a possession film. So I like the cleverness of this film. Is it executed 100%? No, but we'll get into that towards the end of the video. So like I said, the engaging event is that this one girl named Sophie, or Mia, played by Sophie, she lost her mother, and this is the second anniversary of that death, which we later learn that there's a huge backstory there. We don't really fully get a lot there, but we're introduced to her. She wants to do this hand thing. So they go over to this dude's house who sucks. Also the guy that's in there, I don't remember his name, but he sucks. He's such a douchebag. They've got this hand. She sits down. She kind of gets it and she really likes it. She seems like she is in a very dark place and very depressed. And so maybe she's seeking out some answers from her mother. And now that she finds out this is actually real, this leads to some other stuff throughout the film. So our next big event, which kind of kicks starts the second half of this film, is they come over again because one of the girls, Jada, I think, or Jade, I think it's Jade, Mia's best friend, go to Jade's house. She's got a boyfriend who kind of had a thing for Mia at some point, but now they're just friends, and he wants to touch the hand and kind of see what he can get from the spooky side. So they do that. They have fun. They kind of have this montage of all of them doing it over and over and over, and then the little boy, who is Jade's brother, wants to touch this. Now they're very hesitant at first because he is obviously 14 and they're all a little older than that, and so he finally does it. He's like, let me just do it for 50 seconds. 50 seconds. And so they let him do it, and then the twist of this is that Mia's mother starts talking to her, or so she thinks that it's actually her mother. We don't really know what it ends up being towards the end of the film, but Mia's mother starts talking to her, and she ends up letting the little boy go on too long. And so he's in there for a long time. She's been in there for a long time. And so this is kind of our, inciting event that leads to the rest of the story throughout the film. So from here on out, we're going to be discussing spoilers because I really want to talk about this film. That's why I saw it twice. I've waited. It's been out for a couple weeks. So let's talk about it. So spoilers here. If you don't want to be spoiled, then click off the video now. Thanks for stopping by and watching my video, but let's get into all the spoilers. All right, so basically what happens is Mia royally fucks things up, and this kid gets a demon in him, and all of a sudden, at the very end, they're trying to get him out, and that motherfucker just keeps slamming his head, and it's very jarring. I will say, off the bat, this movie's not scary at all. It really didn't scare me. I hate this hype machine of shit just being the scariest thing ever. It's really fucking annoying. Everybody likes different things, but for me, it's not that scary, and there really only are a couple jump scares in this film, so I really don't know why they're kind of scared. Now, that is disturbing, and I think it's original, in its concept, but it is flawed in its execution. So we get him slamming his head, he ends up going to the hospital, and then shit starts to appear for Mia, and this is kind of where there's some creepy stuff. She starts thinking she's seeing her mother and talking to her mother's giving her very, very demonic advice, obviously. She tells her at one point to kill a fucking kid. So there's obviously some dark shit going on in Mia's life, and all of the spirits that have come inside of her that she's let in. So overall, I still recommend you watch this movie. I mean, if you love A24 stuff, I think you're really gonna like this film. It just doesn't always work for me. It is one of their better films because I don't feel like it's preaching to me. I don't feel like it's got this overtone of fucking message just nailing me over the head, which a lot of their other films do. And so I like that it's just kind of a fun movie that has this disturbing premise. I like that it's an original film that is cool. It's just the execution. Obviously, these are first-time filmmakers. They have done a lot of stuff on YouTube. I'm not a big fan of theirs necessarily, but I like what they've done here, and I hope that they continue to do this, and I hope that the next film that they make, their sophomore take, is executed a little bit better. Maybe they can flesh the story out a little bit better because, like I said, that's where I kind of fall flat. There's a lot of unanswered questions in this film. I like that there's some ambiguity in the film, but really the last 5 minutes when shit starts going down, it kind of just ends and you're really like, what the fuck was everybody doing? I see what Mia was trying to do, but it just doesn't explain enough and just leaves a lot up to interpretation, which can be cool, but in a film that really feels like it was rushed the last 15 minutes, it just kind of things are like, hey, we got to get to this ending so that way Mia can end up with the hand and realize that she's dead. And so like I said, I like the ending, but I feel like that last connective tissue, they kind of had the ending, but they just really didn't know how to land to get there. So overall, I recommend the film. Just know that it is a cool concept that for me personally was kind of wasted and underbaked. But overall, I do like the film. I'm just not in love with it and don't think it is as masterful as everybody's claiming it to be. So that tends to be how these things go. Barbarian was in a similar state. I'll link my video up below so you can check that out a long time ago. I actually did like that film, but this hype machine kind of gets people overhyped, and I think sometimes it can underdeliver in some areas because you're building this up. I went in again, like I said, no hype. I saw it before a lot of people. And again, I wanted to see it again just so I could give you my actual, accurate, solidified feelings with the film and not an off-the-cuff thing because it would have been far more negative than this review is now. All right, that's all I've got. Thanks for stopping by. I'm going to link some videos for you at the end as always. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you did, consider becoming part of the collective here. We'd love to have you. And again, let me know, have you seen Talk to Me? What did you think about it? How wrong do you think I am about Talk to Me? All of that down below. All right, that's all I've got. I'll talk to you guys in the next video.